position like the student body president. The leadership is taking charge of your own life.
The children that are exposed to this, that their parents, their grandparents, and nobody in their family had ever been exposed to anything like this, and it changes their life.
It's everything that you want your son or daughter to be.
Before was really difficult, so I learned that the more difficult it gets, the more tougher I should be.
Coming in, she was kind of reserved. She had that tough exterior. She always had that persona of, don't talk to me, I'm not talking to you.
She would do what others suggest. They suggest to do something she don't work for. Instead of her being a leader, she was a follower. And she would keep to herself unless someone came up and approached her. Now, from last year to this year, it's a total difference. It's like she changed from my day. Like I said, she opened up. She's more outgoing towards other people as far as meeting them, wanting to meet them, and not being afraid to introduce herself.
She knows what's expected, and I think she realizes what she wants for herself. And I think she now sees what it's going to take for her to get where she wants to go.
She has opened up, she's had relationships, she's been chosen for leadership opportunities, and she's done them very well.
Your day goes better. Like, you're not grumpy, you're not grouchy. You, like, have a positive attitude when they're happy.
Duchesne and I have really, I guess, buddied up this year because I can go to her, we could joke around and I say, Duchesne, I really need you to do this. And I said, she goes, well, you know, I used to be a behavior problem. I said, I don't believe that. And she said, oh yeah, I used to be. She said, a lot of things I used to do in my school. And I was just floored. She's different. All of our kids have adult problems. You know, we have those kids who are raising siblings, and we have those kids who are managing household. And I think some of those leadership skills that we're building outside of school comes in.
With programs before, it was about controlling the students. With this, they are able to take that leadership role and say, I think this should change. And I say, how do you think it should change? What do you think we should do to change it? So we've had a lot of open communication between student and teacher.
Self-respect is a positive approach to life. It's the ability to speak, articulate your thoughts, to actually go into a situation and being prepared, knowing what to say. For workforce development, this is a magical thing. Because it produces kids that have all these skills in employer life, in addition to the core academics.
To run a business, you need people that take responsibility, people that are regimented. You don't have to check and double check that they're doing their job. You want people to take the initiative and execute, be productive, and just the whole way the leader we is set up lends itself to this.
I played at the Warren Central High School. Tried out as a 7th grader for the junior varsity team. And my and he told me that he thought I was good enough to play varsity as a 7th grader. Came back as an 8th grader this year, and I've started every game this season.
The Leader in Me program at Moss, just the 7 habits, learning how to be responsible, being proactive, putting first things first. I've seen him just mature and take responsibility for his actions.
On the level where Noah is, as an 8th grader playing on the varsity team, he has to be a leader. And so those characteristics come into my classroom, and people watch him, people look at him, and they take his lead.
I think this confidence that he has this year helps him to be more of an approachable young man. And I think he's also more confident that he can approach adults.
Before, when he would meet somebody, he kind of turned his head and looked down, and now he introduces himself, shakes their hand, and says, "Hey, I'm Noah Norberry, how are you?" I've seen him grow up a lot.
All the habits are really important to me right now, but like, I have to say one of my favorites is putting first things first. Just with the example of doing my homework on the bus, going to baseball games, because, you know, I got to keep my priorities straight. The school has to come before sports always.
He believes in himself now, and I think he has a great future ahead. I believe that he is the type of young man that will use his habits till, you know, in way into adulthood. He's just a great kid.
Hello, fellow leaders. My name is Jushay Lee. That's me in the video at Moss Middle School. I recently transferred to Bowling Green Junior High. On Wednesday, I was selected out of 12 other peers to be on the Student Lighthouse team, which means we have a voice of the 7 habits at our school. The 7 habits are: be proactive, begin with the end in mind, think with win, put first things first, seek first to understand, then to be understood, and to the guide from sharp to soft. The 7 habits are a helpful tool to me at my new school. Instead of just reading about the new concept, I take these 7 habits and put them to action. The 7 habits concept gave me a way to use my mind in a positive way. Everyone my age wants to be something, but not every teenager feels that they can achieve anything. It's easy becoming mischievous. I used to be one of those students. I've gone from standing in front of a juvenile judge to standing before you today. The leader in me decided to take the negative attention I was receiving and turn it in a positive way. I started thinking about my future and making positive choices. Thanks to the leader in me for helping me navigate my path. I had an opportunity to meet with Ms. Regina. In our meeting, we talked and I learned that we had several things in common. One of which that our mothers play a major role in both of our lives, as well as we both started our career paths at a young age. One thing that stands out to me most is both Ms. Regina and I, is that we both like to give people makeovers. Ms. Regina likes to make people look fabulous, and I like to help people's lives look fabulous. I know that you're thinking, how is that? I'm an ordinary 8th grader, and I can't change anything. Well, you're wrong. Yes, I'm an 8th grader, but I can teach, motivate, and encourage others how to be a leader like me. Anyone can do it. It might as well be us. Let's be proactive. It all starts with a warm smile. In closing, I would like to thank Ms. Regina for your sponsorship of our coffee hour and the support of the
I'm here to talk about the leader in me. The habit I think is most important is put first things first. Put first things first is doing important things first, then having fun. For example, doing your homework, then playing outside. And it just doesn't have to be at school. It can be at home. For example, do your chores, then watch TV. These habits help our school by making our students more responsible leaders. They also help the younger kids because they become responsible students. They don't always have to be for students or kids. They can be for adults too, because adults and children can learn new things every day. Thank you.
Hello everyone. My name is Wyatt Parker and I'm a 5th grade student at Oakland Elementary. I was ecstatic to be a part of this Leader in Me program because I've always practiced this at home by the way my mom has raised me. This is a lifetime program for anyone who will create a better society. I hope to continue to apply this in my life. Oakland Elementary Leader in Me program has completely changed me for the better. I love following the 7 habits. Being proactive. This is being positive in thoughts and actions down to my responsibilities at school. To helping others, which I naturally love to do. Beginning with the end in mind. Planning ahead of time. This is a good tool which I know will help me in my adult years as well. Putting first things first. Getting things done, then having fun. Work first, then play afterwards. Mom teaches you that daily. Thinking win-win, but being fair all day, every day. See first to understand, then to be understood. Listen before you speak. Now how many times do we hear that? That never gets old. Synergizing together is better. When we bring positive energy together as a unit, it makes us that much stronger. Sharpening the saw, living a balanced life, doing things that need to be done, then doing things I want to do. Children and adults have to do this daily. To me, this is life. I'll work these 7 habits in life, and I do believe when I reach my vision of success, it will be because of this school and these habits. And my family, the ones I love, and the ones who love me. But you can't just pick and choose which one to apply. It takes all the habits and for you to put them into action to become a leader and a role model for yourself first and then to others.
Morning, everybody. My name is Matt Thornhill. I'm the principal at Natcher Elementary, and I'd like to first introduce Ms. Shannon Canan, one of our assistants who works with several of our kids at Natcher, and she's going to introduce our fine young man this morning.
Good morning, everybody. I have the wonderful opportunity at Natcher to work with some wonderful students who are diamonds in the rough. They often don't see their own potential, and I have the opportunity to try to help them to do that. And the student that we have brought with us today, Mr. Hayden Thomas, would you please stand? He is a great example of this. I recently was in a 6th grade classroom, and there were several students in this classroom that I had the opportunity to just kind of help and make sure they're understanding and answer any questions that they have. There was one particular student who was very non-responsive, and we had really had a hard time getting him to have a positive experience in math. And on this particular day, student said, oh, I don't even understand any of this, which was very typical of him. And so Hayden just drew the number line he was more comfortable with. And they had several problems that they needed to do. And as they progressed through each of the problems, Hayden kept turning to his partner, asking what he thought. And by the third problem, the other student was engaging on his own. They were interacting. And at one point, the other student started talking about lunch, which was still 40 minutes away. Not too long, but a little bit of time. And talking about how hungry he was. And he said to Hayden, he said, man, I'm really starving. I really want some lunch. I'm hungry, aren't you? And instead of just snapping something out, Hayden just kept working. And he said, you know, I guess, but right now I'm just focused on math. And so he was being a great example and a great leader in putting first things first and showing the other student where his mind needed to be and what his priorities needed to be. And as they continued on, Hayden took the opportunity to encourage the other student, telling him how great it was and how easy this math was once you really just tried it. And the other young man said to Hayden, he said, well, if I were as smart as you, then it would be easy. Which Hayden responded like any gentleman, and he said, well, of course you are. Someday you're going to be like Einstein or something. And then the conversation just continued, and I just stood there and I was so impressed and so amazed. And I know that part of it is because of this program, because we talk so much about it, about being a leader and putting first things first and working together. And Hayden had that opportunity. I don't even think he realized what he was doing. He was just being a leader, and he's a wonderful example of it. And I was so proud of him that day, and I'm very proud of him today. Thanks, Hayden.
I can't come up here without saying something, so I'm going to brag on it a little bit more. Raise your hand if you are a business owner who wants an employee that takes initiative. All right? Take a look real quick. Everybody look. See, you've got lots of opportunities out there when you grow up and have a job out there waiting for you. Because this young man did take that initiative. He was a leader. He helped out a fellow student, and that makes me very proud. So I wanted to just say thank you for that and continue to grow as a leader. Very good. Thank you.
I really don't know how I can follow all of this. Aren't these kids incredible? That's why that my heart is with the leader in me. And I cannot stress enough as we go through the rest of the program how important it is, because they will be our workforce for tomorrow. These kids are an inspiration, and we have thousands just like them in our schools and homes who are choosing to be more responsible for their decisions and actions, as well as planning for their future. I run a business, and I've often said, because I know from experience, give me someone who is willing to learn with a good work ethic, and that's all it takes. I can teach them the rest. Those are my best employees. That is why I started the Regina Webb Academy. We have to take responsibility for building a strong workforce, and that is why I love the leader in me. And I have some of my graduates from our Regina Webb Academy, and then Angie, my daughter-in-law, who runs the academy. Would you all please stand? As a member of the first class of Leadership South Central Kentucky, this month I experienced the 7 Habits training provided by the same trainer that works with our schools in the Leader in Me initiative. I sat there thanking God that the message of responsibility and social skills needed for the 21st century that our teachers and families are working so hard to enforce are taught and exemplified in our schools this way. Then there are those students who don't have the support always at home, and the message in our schools is even more life-transforming as they hear daily a recipe that can be worked into all aspects of their life. And actually, as an adult, my day people that are in that group with me. We will be the first graduating class of this. If anybody's here, would you stand for me, please? So I sat there thinking, we are never too old or too young to be reminded life is better when we put things first, begin with the end in mind, and synergize. We are only 400,000 away from the goal of providing the leader in me to all 18,000 plus students K through 12, and as important, sustaining the program in our schools for all future generations. I attended the coffee hour on March 2012 when the goal was 1.6 million. Today, to know that only a year and a half later, we are only $400,000 away from having our goal, the leader in me, implemented at various levels in our elementary and middle school, is still something to celebrate. But what if I told you this morning I learned that we are only $370,000 away from our goal? Rodney, would you please come?
What a tremendous day, tremendous coffee I will have here. This is awesome. Well, a lot of you all know that Stewart Ritchie Construction celebrated their 40th year in business, or we're celebrating our 40th year this year. This community has been very, very good to Stewart Ritchie and all of us. I can't think of a better way to give back to this community for the 40 years that it's been good to us than to support the leader in me financially. I could sit up here and talk for an hour about my experience personally with the leader in me from the first day that Tanya Matthews brought it to the chamber as a possible initiative back about 4 years ago. But I think what I've got here with me is a real life example of part of the Stewart Ritchie family that will tell everything that I need to say about why it's so important that we support the leader in me. This is Miss Emily Grimes. She is the daughter of the vice president of Stewart Ritchie, Rodney Grimes, and her mother Lisa.
Good morning. My name is Emily Grimes, a leader in me student from Rockville Elementary. I would like to take a moment to thank a few guests that are here with me this morning. My parents, Rodney and Lisa Grimes, my sister Taylor Grimes, my nanny Shirley Wood, my step-grandfather Curtis Wood, the staff at Stewart Ritchie and Rodney, and a special thanks to my principal, Mr. Cassidy. Let me share with you what the Leader in Me program has done for me. I started learning about the Leader in Me program when my guidance counselor, Miss Garrett, began reading the 7 Habits with me showing us videos. If you visit our school, you will notice that we have the Leader in Me and 7 Habits displayed throughout our classrooms and hallways. This helps remind us all throughout the day how important it is for us. The Leader in Me program has helped me realize that anything is possible when you apply yourself to maintain a correct focus. All of the 7 habits are important, but
Thank you all so much. Wow, another leader. I've often said I love young people because they're going to be taking care of me when I get older. So I feel really good in the hands of all these kids that we've heard today. Reaching the goal of $370,000 by year end is possible with your help. I represent the Show Me the Money Team Regina. I'd like to introduce you to my right